Each of us are great fans of the Street Fighter franchise. We as a community love and cherish the arts and characters that Street Fighter has given us. The variety of characters makes us pick our favorites for battle. We might not know their moves and their style of play, but do we know their origins or story? In this episode, we're going to focus on the timeline of Ken Masters. Without further ado, let me welcome you to the Street Fighterverse. Before we start our video, if you like The Matrix, Cowboy Bebop, and other sci-fi themes, we want to welcome you to the Cypunk feed, our new YouTube channel that covers all types of cyberpunk, sci-fi themes that you might enjoy. Subscribe and join us. His father, a wealthy hotel tycoon owner, told Ken at the age of 12 that his son had to learn discipline or else he would become a spoiled brat and try to inherit their family fortune. In order to do so, the elder masters sent Ken to train under his best friend, the mysterious karate master, Gouken. At first, Ken was very hesitant to learn from Gouken, wanting to go back to the United States, but later began to respect his master. He even enjoyed the company of Gouken's adopted son, Ryu. Ryu and Ken would later become best friends and each other's principal rivals. In Street Fighter Alpha, Ken fought and won the premier US martial arts tournament that had been previously won by Charlie Nash, as well as meeting a very attractive girl named Eliza, who became his girlfriend. After winning the US martial arts tournament, the heroic story that Ryu defeated the Emperor of Muay Thai reaches his ears. He asks Ken what it means to be a true fighter. He wonders if he should use the same fist he used to defeat Sagat, or the other one Akuma uses to murder people. Ken sees that Ryu has gone back to his usual bad habit of overthinking things, and fights him as an attempt to wake him up. After defeating Ryu, Ken realizes he has been deeply troubled since his last victory over Sagat. He reminds Ryu to keep fighting in order to find the answer, and gives him his red hairband, that whenever he feels lost, he should use it as a reminder of their fight, and to keep fighting to find the answer. Ryu happily takes the headband, and they both go their separate ways. Ken returns home and, with Eliza's support, begins training harder, knowing even with his recent feelings that Ryu is always stronger than he looks. Ken begins to wonder about his own life. Along the road to proving himself again, he encounters Karin, who tells him she has followed his career and is trying to best her rival Sakura. To prove she is superior, Ken advises her it's good to have a rival, not for supremacy, but to keep on training harder and focusing. Going off to meet up with Sakura, they have a friendly match and Ken finally realizes that Ryu has the right idea all along. Both he and Sakura begin to travel to find Ryu, but their path crosses with that of Shadowloo's dictator, M. Bison. Ken confronts him, but he is easily defeated and placed under Bison's hypnosis. Bison then uses brainwashed Ken to lure Ryu out of hiding. Once Ryu shows up, Bison makes Ken fight him. Ryu wins and manages to release Ken of Bison's mind control. Ryu then proceeds to fight Bison, but loses and, just like Ken before him, is turned into a slave of Bison's psycho power. Sagat appears and, enraged by Bison's actions, engages Ryu in an attempt to break Bison's mental grip on him. Ken, now free and aided by Sakura, attacks Bison. This intervention, along with Sagat's presence, makes Ryu come to his senses. Recovered, Ryu takes on Bison once more. Bison senses Ryu's dark power and attempts to manipulate Ryu's mind once again. At his friend's urging, Ryu resists and defeats Bison with a powerful Hadouken. Ken is happy to see his old friend again. With the promise of a new duel, the two part their ways. In Street Fighter 2, Ken receives a letter from Ryu where he describes his consistent immersion in daily training, which rekindled Ken's fighting spirit. Realizing that he's been slacking on his own training, Ken goes back into the world of fighting. After the events of Street Fighter 2, Ken is married to Eliza, something he had apparently vowed only to do after winning a decisive victory against Ryu. However, it is unknown if the two fought during the tournament, or if Ken actually won, if they even did. No details have been stated. In Street Fighter 2 Complete File, it states that he lost to Ryu and continued his training. In Super Street Fighter 4, when a new tournament is announced, Ken isn't sure whether to compete, as Eliza is now far along in pregnancy, and he doesn't want to leave her. Sensing his inner conflict, Eliza assures him that she'll be fine, and that the baby isn't due for a while yet, so he should go meet up with Ryu and tell him she says hi. Ken enters, and in the absence of gas stations near the location for the final, he parks his SUV in a convenient spot, calls Eliza to check on her, and continues the rest of the way on foot. Over the course of the tournament, he encounters his self-appointed rival, Rufus. Although the results of that match are unknown, After the tournament, it is discovered that Goken is still alive, and Ken and Ryu pursues him as he leaves. Ken is upset that Goken has not said anything to them, but Goken counters that they no longer need a master. Ken and Ryu head home on foot, and Rufus passes by them on his motorbike, calling them losers. Soon, however, Rufus's bike runs out of gas, and Ken and Ryu reach the SUV. Ken offers Rufus and his girlfriend Candy a lift, but Rufus refuses. Soon afterwards, their son is born, and they name him Mel. In Street Fighter V, Ken, Eliza, and Mel are invited into a party hosted by Karin. During the party, Ken reflects on the various sparring matches between him and Ryu. The family gets lost on the way to the party and encounters Birdie, who thinks they are trespassing, resulting in a fight with Ken. Karin arrives and offers Ken a pre-meal fight as an apology for Birdie attacking him, which Ken accepts. Afterwards, he and Eliza wonder about why Ryu isn't at the party. In A Shadow Falls, on the main story, Ken came to visit Ryu, who was in the middle of meditating after getting defeated in a sparring match with Ken. Ryu tells him that he will join them when his training is complete. Later, Ken arrives with the rest of the fighters called by Karin to the Kansuki estate, where they plan their first infiltration of the Shadowloo base. Ken, Chun-Li, and Cammy travel to Brazil to search for the first missing chess piece, held by Lara Matsuda. While there, he saves Sean from Fang, but he is then attacked by his older sister Laura, who mistakes him for an enemy. After the fight, Sean sorts out the misunderstanding by indicating the unconscious Shadowloo soldiers. Laura then decides to join them, but on the condition that Ken add Matsuda Jiu-Jitsu into his selection of online karate classes, which he agrees to. Chun-Li then leaves to assist Karin in the group's first infiltration. Ken remains with Laura, and the duo fend off more Shadowloo soldiers, with Ken taking out 3 with a single Shinryuken. Ken reunites with Ryu just before the group begins the final assault against Shadowloo. After Bison's final defeat at Ryu's hands and Shadowloo's destruction, Ken finds Ryu alone and meditating, and decides to have another friendly sparring match to see if Ryu has found his true answer. Ryu manages to defeat Ken, but drops his red headband. Ken hands it back to him, figuring he might still need it. The two are later seen sharing a friendly fist bump. In Street Fighter III, a Brazilian teenager named Sean had been pestering him to become his student, and Ken reluctantly accepted, beginning to train him. Maintaining a home and raising a child has strained his relationship with Ryu. Ken gets in touch with Ryu and invites him to a Japanese hot spring inn. Ken also brings Sean along, but decides to do last-minute shopping for Eliza before flying to Japan. In reality, Ken purposely left Sean alone to see how he'll do in a street fight. Ken then entered the World Warrior tournament. He fought Sean in the tournament and won against him. However, he drops out upon realizing Ryu was defeated by Oro. Ken begins to train his son Mel in rudimentary fighting techniques. He also told Sean to go find Ryu and challenge him, giving him some free time with Eliza. He learned that Ryu had sought him out and traveled all the way to New York from Oakland for their long-awaited rematch. Tossing some friendly jabs at each other, both have a good fight, ultimately won by Ryu. Since then, Ken has continued to train Sean and Mel, handle his family and business, and keep up with his old friend Ryu. In Sean's ending, Ken wakes up Sean, who was beaten unconscious after being knocked down by his opponent in the first round. In Ken's ending, he wins his 3rd straight US Martial Arts tournament, which is a new record, and offers the trophy to Sean, who turns the offer down, wanting to earn it for himself. While Ryu is the more serious of the two, Ken is the complete opposite, stylish, unorthodox, and unpredictable. He is a highly skilled fighter with a giant ego, and constantly reminds his opponents about his greatness. In Ken's official bio, it states that former US national fighting champ and ex-VP of the Masters Foundation, accusations of orchestrating a criminal plot has forced Ken to abandon his family and business and into hiding. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on new theories and info. Thank you for watching. This has been your Street Fighter host. Welcome to the Center Stage Discord server. There you can talk with us, chat about current events going on in Street Fighter, information, theories, and lore. We'll leave the link in the description box below. We want to thank everyone for tuning in and becoming part of this Street Fighter community. We want to thank you for your positive comments towards our channel, because it only habilitates us to grow even more. From the Street Fighterverse crew, we thank you.